Hey guys, welcome to a new year here on the Canada Puck Podcast. Look at that, I threw something topical into the start instead of just my little ramblings. Your weekly recap of what's going on in the world of hockey, specifically in Canada, and in specifically in hockey, specifically in Canada, and more specifically on a podcast. I don't know. I think I screwed up the order there, and then my brain went dead. That's no good. I'm your co-host, Mick. You can find me on Twitter at Profit Mick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host. No. Oh my gosh. It started. I actually laughed because there was a couple times I got some new speakers for my computer, so I was testing them out and I clicked on a podcast and it starts out and we're like, oh, the Canada Puck Podcast. Blah, blah, blah. And there's Grant. And Grant's like, you know what? I feel like this COVID thing is behind us. The NHL season is finally like normalized, and like we can just get back to just straight up hockey and things will just be normal for the rest of our lives. And I'm like, eh. Just saying, everything was fine in November, and now in January, things do not look fine. In fact, we are kind of a jinxed show. So our last two shows, if this is your first show, welcome. We're going to look at some headlines, so go around the league, just talk about the big stories going on with each team. We have some gambling advice, some fantasy advice. I'm going to ask Grant some trivia. He's going to win some cards. We've got Instagram babes to show you. It's great. However, some housekeeping things before we start. So our last official show before we took our winter break, the NHL shut down, essentially. There was some games postponed. I think there was maybe a couple more days of games, and then they just shut it down for the Christmas break. So we actually didn't miss out on too much action, which was kind of nice. And then we did a little drunken holiday special, and we're talking, and we're like, oh man, the World Juniors are great. I can't wait to watch the World Juniors. What a great well, then that got canceled because of COVID. So we're just ahead of COVID on this one. So I'm excited to find out what kind of stuff gets canceled tonight. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's a shame. that's a shame. Yeah. Speaking of things I'm sure that will not get canceled, and I'm sure we'll go ahead and gathering all your stars of your league in one location. Sounds like a great idea right now. Apparently the NHL All-Star voting ends tonight, so it's kind of exciting. There's a little article on NHL.com. I don't know if they're going to show us the actual like leaders or anything. Um, mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, like if you read through this, and I'm not a reader, so not really a fan of this, but I'm seeing that Ovechkin, McDavid, Matthews, and McKinnon are all leading the race to be named captains for their respective teams. And if you do kind of roll through here, kind of shows like the percentages, right? So, but anyone else standing out? Sidney Crosby, the captains named Crosby, Aho, Draisaitl, Ovechkin, Zegras, Kachuk, Lucas Raymonds. Second round rookies. Stamkos, Patrice Bergeron. The usual suspects. We're not seeing anything jumping off the page. But yeah, like Grant said, I think because they're hiding the data, if John Scott was there, they just kind of like, that's an outlier. We push it to the side. We do it our way, but it's definitely fan voted. 100% fan voted. Which is a shame, because you know what I don't care about? The NHL All-Star game. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Nice. Yeah, no, that is exciting. So I guess we'll see tomorrow. Fan voting's done today, so in theory they kind of announce the teams and whatnot going forward. Yeah, yeah. Unless it was a turn. Nah, just if you like it, great. Not for me. Although sometimes I gamble on it, so but I gamble on really dumb stuff. So like I think there's college football stuff. Sometimes I throw money out on college football. I don't watch college football. I'm like, hey, money, hey, odds. Oh, hey. I actually almost made a FanDuel lineup for today's League of Legends because that was an option you could do. So you could click on and you could pick specific players or something like that and build a FanDuel lineup. And I was like, I didn't. I ultimately decided against it, but I was like looking at it last night because I was kind of bored. So no, that's Rocket League. The Rocket League, I've actually heard it can be quite fun, and that's one of those things. If we ever decided to play like online gaming, that could be one of those games where we like kind of play. But League of Legends, I, I don't know. I think it's like a, I just don't know. Mm-hmm. I had to say that. Yeah, when you looked at the slate, if you go to the bottom of your app, it'll show you all the postponements. I think all the Canadian teams are postponed at the moment, so lovely. How wonderful. If we pull up the standings, though, going from the bottom up, the lowly, pathetic Montreal Canadiens sit at 31st overall. They have 18 points on the season through 34 affairs. If my math is correct, there's only 82 games, so they're pretty close to the halfway mark, and they have 18 points. Poor Montreal. I don't even think Montreal's playing hockey at this point. I'm pretty sure they're on, like, postponed COVID protocols or something. Hmm. Hmm. But who wants? But who wants the contract? He has a terrible contract. I believe it'd probably be some type of salary retention. I'm guessing, right? And or it depends. I guess what the return is. So let's pull up our dear friend, my beloved, cap friendly Carey Price. He only has 5 years left at the 10 million. So I mean, I realize that $50 million is not just something that you kind of sneeze at. If you're getting back, uh, first, like if you're moving it for assets, I think then you probably have to retain. But if you're moving it wholesale without any retainment, you're probably giving up stuff, right? So it kind of depends what the rumors are saying. That would be my guess, just off the top of my head. That's kind of where I would go. So, hmm. Wow. Huh. Okay, how do we that is like Seattle expansion draft. No, we want to go teams. We want to pull up the Seattle Kraken. What kind of Oh, look at this. How do they know that I want to buy a box of Upper Deck cards? No, it's just the Upper Deck series or whatever. It's the same box I've got sitting beside here. So maybe it's like talking to the computer. Cap space. $14 million in cap space right now for the Kraken? Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I like that. That is interesting. I did hear that they just wanted to go short deals with the expansion draft, right? Because if you look, I don't think anybody makes over something like $6 million or something. I think Giordano in his 1 year was the highest thing, just to keep that flexibility. So, yeah, if they bring in Carey Price for say half for five million or something like that. Although they have that big Grubauer, I like it though. Huh, all right, that was cool. What a cool headline. I guess. All right. So moving up to 30th overall, want to talk about dead franchise that they probably should start making trades just so people remember that they're still in the league. We have the poor Ottawa Senators who have not played a game since I think Brady Kachuk screwed me out of all that money like back in December at some point, and now he's been in hiding. He's in witness protection because he heard the Canada Puck boys are after him. So we're friends. Like you guys come back out and play. You don't have to hide. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no idea what happens. What's like the average? They have 29 games played. I'm seeing the highest, like the tallies. I guess the Ducks here are at 36. Vegas 37. So they're about 8 games off pace, which it's not terrible considering I don't think they've played a game of hockey in almost a month. Here, let's see. Can we pull up a score? Does it actually show us like scores at any point? Postpone, postpone, postpone. Saturday, January 1st, they lost 6-0 to the Leafs. Is that really a thing? The first? Yeah. So it looks like they played up until let's see. This Thursday, Saturday on the 18th, they had a game against the Flyers, and then they had a bunch of postponements. They came back for a Saturday game against the Leafs, lost 6-0, and then they haven't done anything. And there you go. We'll see. Yep. Huh. All right. So that's the Senators. They might get Carey Price for a hot second. We gotta scroll up. This has been a while. Look at this. We have to actually scroll up to find the next team, and that's the Vancouver Canucks, who had a triumphant Bruce Boudreau start of his career. They've sat in the basement for a little while. Looks like they've won a bunch of games, and they're now sitting in 20th, 35 points through 34 games. Look at that. Oof. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I think in just getting the young kids, especially like that, the core moving in that positive light, even if it is a couple just positive like good seasons, they make the postseason, they become kind of that staple. That's where this team needs to get to, right? Lots of good roster moves. They're in kind of a positive trend there. So congratulations, Booze Boudreaux. But you also wonder like when you start seeing stuff like this, like is it a little too late? Maybe. Hmm. Yeah, and you saw, yeah, with the Penguins, right, a couple years ago, right? Yeah, right. The December is actually probably a pretty good time to do it. Uh, a COVID season might kibosh that, right? Like, that might be the one thing, but you can't fight against that, right? So, all right, cool. They're not playing though. I think they're postponed. And we move up to 16th. So again, that little guy, that little medium, they're always in the middle of the pack. Winnipeg Jets. What's going on with the Winnipeg Jets? I don't think they're playing. I think they're postponed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, they're always. Yeah, we've talked about it. They are kind of what we think they are at this point. They're middle of the pack, high end. They have some high end talent, kind of across the board. And those guys have to play really, really well for them to win games, right? So, fortunately, the Logan Stanleys can't win everything. So, speaking of the Winnipeg Jets, Tucker Poolman watch. Currently for the Vancouver Canucks, he has 3 points through 30 games. So keep your eye out. Norris candidate Tucker Poolman. Yeah, but then he went to the Canucks. So do you get like a halfie, like you do, kind of like one of those ones that's like two jerseys? We could just get two jerseys and sew them together. I, I don't care. Unless no, that doesn't work. I was thinking like unless there was like an A or something on one side of the jersey, but I wanted to like have it spell like a dirty word, like "fu," but they don't really have "fus" on the front of jerseys, so that's a shame. Well, the Canucks have some bad ones. Like, don't they have one that looks like a bumblebee? They kind of have that like Steelers one where it's like black and like yellow stripes or something. I think there's one like that you could do. That's not doesn't look great. Clash pretty hard. There must be one like that for the Canucks. The Jets might be a little bit more difficult, right? So, but I do have some bad news. Just take you down from that high. We're at 16th. I scrolled up one spot. Now the Edmonton Oilers are sitting there. Yeah. Ah, yeah, I don't know if there's gentlemen in Saskatoon. That's the issue, I suppose. So yeah, no. Regression to the mean. Is that what we're seeing? You know, they started off really hot. Hockey is a team sport. It's not just a Connor McDavid and Draisaitl sport, right? Just because you have the two best players in the world on your team, you kind of need the other pieces. And we're seeing just kind of with the Darnell Nurse injury, right? I don't know the severity of that injury, right? If he can get back as they're kind of maybe postponing because they're not playing tonight due to some postponement. I wonder if that'll help them, right? When they get healthy, and maybe they take the Vancouver approach where they just need a new voice in that locker room, right, to kind of help everyone refocus. And... Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had a rough road trip there. Lost to St. Louis and Jersey, the Islanders. They lost to the Islanders. All right, all right. And I mean, Connor McDavid missing the other night's affair because he tested positive for COVID doesn't help, right? That guy on the ice definitely is a difference maker. So once he gets healthy, yeah. Hmm. 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 There you go. I shouldn't have done this. I was screwing around and I made the mistake of scrolling up, and I had a big grin on my face at one point. So this will bring a grin to your face now too. So if I scroll 1 to 14, we get the Calgary Flames. So like, you don't feel that bad. Like the home team rivals are right there too, right? So at least if you're gonna fail, you might as well fail together, like brothers. I mean, hmm. As I'm just kind of scrolling through, like, oh, postponements, postponements, postponements. You get to this stretch where they beat the Blackhawks, which is expected. They get their butts kicked by Florida, which is expected, and then Tampa Bay, and then Carolina, and I'm like, I'm not shocked by those results. Like, I'm not. It's not one of those things where you press the panic buttons because those are some of the better teams in the league. You, you, if you get beat really badly by the Florida Panthers right now, do you feel that terrible about yourself? No, not really. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I saw a funny thing one time when I was driving on Deerfoot. They have these like big signs because we're a city that you have to have signs because Deerfoot is just a disastrous, horrific experience of all times of the years. And it was winter driving conditions. And Daryl Sutter likes defensive drivers. And I was like, that's funny. All right. Yep. Right? That's you're like, all right, that's kind of funny. It's and like literally it's like at this overpass the other side there's like two cars smashed together in the ditch and I'm like, well, that's Calgary. Oh yeah, go big. Oh, I'm starting to slide, better gun it. Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy. So that's like we're at 14. We got to scroll up through some trash. Let's see if we can find another Canadian team. Oh, at number 7 overall, the Toronto Maple Leafs. What? 7th overall. You guys suck. Boo. Is that the top Canadian team? They are the top Canadian team. Huh, all right. Mm-hmm. Well, as the thing stands right now, they would play Florida in the first round, and they'd be the away team. Like maybe to say that they hit that juggernaut team, right? Like maybe they fall into a wild card spot. Although Boston's like 10 points behind them, so like more than likely they're probably locked into one of those spots. But yeah, and no, and Grant's kind of hitting the nail on the head there. I'm just being more of a. Oh wait, where did it go? Why are we in this page now? That's weird. Um, yeah, they're good. They're up at the top. Like I was just kind of highlighting, they're 7th, but they're in a division with Tampa Bay and Florida, who are 1st and 3rd overall in the league. They do have a couple postponements, right? So they're back just a little bit. They've got 32 games played. They've got 4 games in hand, and they're back about 5 points. So a point a game gets them right up there to the top. They're good. Man, it comes down to playoff performance, right? So unfortunately, when you get to the top of the ladder, it's got a little bit of a coin toss, right? So we'll see. Is this the year, right? Yeah, no, I'll eat crow on that one. I said that him and Mazarek were not the answer in net. They're gonna pay dearly for that. Looks like so far so good, right? So oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, unless there's some type of weird like power play, and I don't mean like as in there's a penalty on the ice and you get a man advantage by Kyle Dubas, and during some type of weird maneuver where somebody is trading, half of, or the Senators are taking half of this $5 million for Carey Price, and then Dubas sweeps in at the last second and brings Carey Price into the Maple Leafs, which would be a really weird move. But he's just like, that's what you get for eliminating us last year, guys. Kyle, what have you done? You've lost your mind. Oh, and like at that point, I'm expecting him to come down to the ice or something like that and like rip open his shirt and have the NWO shirt and like spray paint on the back of Jack Campbell like NWO or something. And you're like, this was a heel turn I was not expecting. Yeah, it's a problem. But that is essentially headlines. Life could almost be good. And that's where we can end our headlines. I think we only have, of all the games, I think Toronto's the only Canadian team actually playing. Everyone else is in some type of weird postponement tonight. It's good and bad. Good because, well, bad because we don't get to see, like our favorites, Canucks and Oilers playing, but that was the bad part. And the good part is we don't have to put Connor McDavid in our FanDuel lineup, so. Mm-hmm. How did we do? That's tough to say. Do you want to go over our teams from last go around, kind of before the break? Because I kind of feel like I didn't do well, but that what might have been the day where were we at? This one timer, 16th. Oh, I won $1. Okay. Well, we should brag about that. Man, you don't always win $1. I did pretty good. You know what my mistake was? And I think what kept me out of the cash game was I picked Tyler Seguin over Joe Pavelski, who had something like a 4-point night that night, and got something like 40 points. And I think if you look at the guy who won this entry, I think he had Pavelski, and that might have been the difference between me getting $10 or $1. So it's not bad. This was all done after the fact because a bunch of COVID games happened. So yeah, 52 versus 8. So there you go. I lost by 70, 50. Okay, I wouldn't have won. I wouldn't have won the total, but does it say the date on this? Somebody is seeing the date and is upset right now. So Leon Draisaitl got 26.1 points. Yep, that's the one. Ah, zoot. Hmm. It's not bad. Yeah. And that lineup too. That night, I think we had some Leafs or something like that, and there was a Leafs game that was postponed. So there's an asterisk, right, to go in after the fact and edit my lineup. So if you watch that show specifically, and that was just kind of like one of those things where I was like, well, that's unfortunate. And I think it happened in our gambling segment, so we'll talk about that just a little bit. But hopefully, there's no more postponements that affect us currently. So Grant, who you got? Who do you like today? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. I believe I also have $0. Like lots of those picks. Went through a range of emotions there. I think I celebrated when you said you think there's going to be lots of goals scored in the Florida Carolina game, and then also realized that if both of us are thinking the same thing, it's a 1-0 affair, and we've doomed them. So I'm sorry, gambling world and the FanDuel lineups. So that's a shame. I'm going to start kind of on the. I picked essentially two games. I liked. Oh no, I guess I got three games. Wow, I'm branching out. Arizona, I believe, won the other night. They don't win very often, so they're definitely losing to Nashville. So that was my basis for starting UC Saros in net, $8,200. A little bit of a price. He's almost one of those expensive goalies, but I kind of figured for that guaranteed win, probably around 20 points from the goalie. It's not terrible. I went up to the top. I got Ryan Johansson cheap. He's the top line or the second line center at $5,700. Paired him with Andrew or I can't actually read this name right now. Alexander Barkov. Wow, that was I don't know what just happened there. That's weird. $9,400. Then on the wings, I went Taro Vinen, Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall for $5,900 seemed like a bit of a bargain. I don't know. Maybe he does something against Tampa Bay. I think maybe some goals are scored there as well. Brady Ski and Mike Riley on defense at $4,200 and $4,100 seemed like. Again, I'm thinking if goals are scored, kind of just splatter the names. My boy Boone Jenner made a utility spot at $5,400, basically because I just ran out of money. I think between my goalie, Barkov, and then trying to pay mid-range for kind of all my forwards and centers there. And then finally, Nito Ryder. I think we're just going to see some goals get scored, right? So I was just kind of picking names as best I could to fill out that lineup, but essentially, I believe there's going to be a lot of scoring in Carolina, Florida, and can you get the names that hit the stat sheets? Right? It's kind of almost like a dart throw at this point. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's tricky too because when you're looking at that, like, what are we expecting? I think it's 6.5 goals is the over, so you're thinking 7, so potentially 21 points. 21 points scattered across a hockey team. Who's going to get the most? I I don't know. We're sorry. We're sorry to the Nito Ryder family. That's a shame. Hmm. No. All right. Well, speaking of overs, gambling wise, so we actually have some housekeeping on this. Our last episode, I had the Leafs game, which did not happen in one of my entries. However, I hit the other two parts of that parlay. So how do we resolve this? Sorry, I guess the first segment was called My Dirty Fantasy. We look at FanDuel. We used to do like a whole fantasy team. FanDuel works better. Now we're on to Bettor Advice, where we take 100 theoretical dollars, bet it every single week, and we tell you about how smart we are by bragging about our profits. I was in the hole for the longest time. I hit something like a 6-to-1 parlay to bring me back to relevance. This was my first betting action with actually positive money on the season, and now I'm going to try and nickel and dime Grant to make sure that I get every cent that's owed to me. I know that the Oilers, who won, the Canes, who won, and the Leafs, the game was postponed, was plus 450. And I had a $35 wager on that. I'm guessing they're both favorites. Anywhere from, minus 200 to like minus 125 would probably be the odds. 250. So I had $35 at 250, which is that 70, 100, that 100 ish. Just under 100. So that means I'm definitely up. So I hit that, as well as I got the Oilers win. So that gives me another $64. So I'd be up 64, like $70 on the year. Okay. Okay. So then in theory, I'm almost up $100 on the year. No. All right. Okay. All right. Yes. Potentially. I think you were drunk and you were like, COVID will never, ever affect us again. So, oops. Oops. But that was last year. This is this year. We'll figure out the details. I just needed to do that little bit of housekeeping at some point. I think I kind of talked about it on our drunk year-end review show. I got 2 bets for us today. Grant, how many bets do you have? All right. All right. Yeah. Do 2. I can do 1, and then we can leapfrog. Hey. Mm-hmm. Sweet yo. Jumping on to Grant's first pick, Carolina is hosting the Panthers of Florida. I think we're going to see over. I alluded to it. The fact that I knew it was 6.5 goals off the top of my head is probably a bad sign, or maybe if you're like, you kind of, I played my hand a little bit. I wasn't that creative today, so I went with $50 at minus 125, so essentially to win $90 in total. I like over 6.5 goals, so 3-3 overtime. I'm a happy man because I won money and my friend won money. As well as my FanDuel lineup, like if Niederreiter had 4 points in a 3-3 game, that would be super. Do you think he they put him against the boards and they do that thing where they like rush him and then his head pops off at one point? Yeah. Yeah. Nice, nice. And then I guess I'll clean up my board. So I have $50 left. I wonder what I did with it. I put a parlay together. I took Nashville. I feel like that's kind of an easy one. I took Vegas over the Blackhawks. Again, a little bit of an easy one. And you're like, well, that's not very creative. And then I took, for some reason, on the road, as underdogs, the Detroit Red Wings against the crappy Kings. That's right. Crappy with a K Kings. Parlayed those together for plus 351. So I like it. I think two of those should be layups. So essentially I'm just kind of juicing the Red Wings on the road. I think they play a good brand of hockey. I don't really know how they've been playing lately, but I like their chances against the Kings tonight. This is the best. This is why I love doing this show, because then Grant makes these wagers, and I somehow benefit because I get to hang out with drunk Grant. Yeah, that's fair. All right, nice. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. I think we're on the right pack. I think things are going in the future, and as long as we don't look at all these postponed games sitting here on the bottom, they're sad Canadian teams that just can't play hockey. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was looking at my dog. He's eating my chair, so. So they're actually ear flaps. Hmm? Yeah, yeah. So you can like pull it and like tuck it under your chin so your head gets warm. So I was out in the park before we recorded, and it is so cold. Like I don't know what the wind chill is, but my feet, like my legs actually hurt because my jeans get so cold. They chafed my legs. It's awful. Oh yeah. Quick side tangent over the winter break. It was extremely cold here in Calgary. I was out every day with the dog in the park. Didn't see anyone, and then it did warm up one day to like +2 or something like that, and it was just absolutely jam packed. Like it took us almost 2 hours to do that walk that day because the dog had to sniff and meet everybody, and yeah, it's I don't mind the cold. I don't mind the cold. Plus, I got a cool hat with little ear flaps. On to let's see if Grant can win some cards. So if he watched, he won a bunch of baseball cards. A bunch of baseball cards got opened over the little break there. I got a nice little stack in front of me here. Oh, and you have your patch, right? Okay. All right. So I was just looking. I was like, I didn't see any patch cards or anything. I was like, I might have stolen your like fancy card that you won, but you got it. That makes sense. All right, Grant. Hmm. All right. We're going to make this super difficult on Grant. We are going to see what happens. And you know what? You can. What do you want to open? This is tough because we can do it two ways. So I've got a box of cards here. I've got one special one if you went for like got everything on this list. I've got some Upper Deck cards, some Series 2, some Extended Series. I still have some Tim Hortons cards. I think there's even a pack of football cards kicking around here. And then a special pack just for Grant. What does Grant want to do today? So You want to pick your shot? So what we're gonna do is I pulled up, and what I suspected we were gonna do. Let's do one of these. One of these ones out of the box. 8 cards. Grant, can you give me the top 8 names? How about 8 of the top 10 names? That'll make it a little bit easier. From the 2012 NHL entry draft. 10 years ago today. Can Grant do it? Can he go 8 out of 10? So he doesn't he even doesn't have to get them all. He just has to do 8 of the top 10. '93. So the top guy was born October 6th, 1993. Yeah, that's already a big strike right there. I believe that was, 2011? Yeah, so 2011 is when you're thinking of. So it's the year ahead of that. Ding, ding, ding! Grant hit it out of the park. He got the first name off the board, 1X. He only needs 7 more names, guys, and he gets all of these cards. Or if he runs the table, maybe he gets a special pack. I don't know. Ooh, you know what? That is really close. It's Ryan Murray? And the fact that you pulled that out of your head, I think we're going to give that to you. So that's a ding, ding, ding. All right, so 2 for 3. Do we want to look at other teams he's played for? Because I know he was, Montreal, Arizona, Pittsburgh, the Wild, the Senators, and the Leafs. Ooh, that is a big strike. He should have just went. It is Alexander Galchenyuk. Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, it's not what you want. At number 7, Matt Dumba is off the board, so that is 3. That's pretty good. All right. That's our third strike. So, we did not. So, at number 4, the New York Islanders selected Griffin Reinhart. You don't want to trade a first-round pick for him. At number 5, the Toronto Maple Leafs took Morgan Rielly. At 6, we have Hampus Lindholm by the Ducks. 7 was Matt Dumba by the Wild. Derek Poulot was a defenseman drafted by the Penguins at 8. At number 9, we have Jacob Trouba. And then Slater Kokeko by the Lightning at 10. So, Yes. Yes. So Yakupov, Galchenyuk, Ryan Murray is like, he's there. Reinhardt didn't really turn into anything. Lindholm's okay. Riley's fine. Dumba's okay. Trouba is a thing. So, yeah. So apparently Philippe Forsberg was the best forward off the board at 11. Went to the Washington Capitals. No, that happens occasionally. I feel like that just happened recently in a draft, maybe like 2 years ago or something like that. Wasn't like all the top picks just defensemen? But on the plus side, Grant did get 3, which is almost halfway there. So I wonder what kind of cards. On a scale of 1 to 8, which picks would you like? Two, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so that's not bad. So we ended up with Leafs superstar Jimmy Vesey. These are your cards. You get Nolan Patrick. And you get a rookie class. Well, this is like a fancy card. Igor Zamula for the Flyers. It is a holo card, yeah. So if he ever becomes something, here, look, there you go. Look at that. All right. It's not bad. I don't think I've actually ever seen a Leafs card come out of one of these packs, so I'm a little bitter. Always open for trading, eh? Well, let's see if there's anything in here worth that I could just flip right now. So we have Derek Brassard, Patrick Laine. Just going to show both those cards. I feel like they kind of suck. We've got an Andreas Anastasiou for the Kings. Anthony Duclair. Is that a all-star card for the Senators? I didn't know that happened. And I was jealous, but I'm not so jealous anymore because you missed out on this William Nylander Dazzler holo. I feel like that. There you go. I think that box finally paid for itself. I think it was 5. Yeah. So if you would have, went like somewhere in the middle or something like that. Ryan Murphy. You mean American writer Ryan Murphy? Oh, there's a Ryan Murphy, defenseman for the Red Wings. Look at that. 28. When was he drafted? 2011. First round, 12th overall pick. Wow, that's amazing. Huh. How amazing. Yeah. Not bad, not bad. All right. Yeah, it's not bad. Grant always just delivers, these nice little gems you get right at the end of the podcast. It's worth sticking around for. It's nice. Wing. Nice. So that wraps up the show. There you go. So we're back into the swing of things. Coming back. And that's kind of all we got right now. Football's over. College football's closing. I guess we still have basketball, hockey, and just kind of run out to spring training. That's all we can do. Yeah, that's fun stuff. Yeah, deadlines, all-star games. Next week we can talk about the all-star selections. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so with that, I think that's it. We say pleasure as always and party on, Grant.